Hi, YouTube family. Welcome back to Recording Movies Recap. Today I will show you a 2016 comedy fantasy film titled Super Family. It's a dark night on the Russian coast, and Oleg is helping a group of smugglers to steal 1 ton of caviar on a small boat. The sailor he's hired protests against the idea, reminding him his boat can only carry 600 kilos, and doesn't change his mind even when Oleg offers him more money. This isn't enough for Oleg to give up, though. He pretends to call his wife, but actually talks to the smuggler and tells him to say the cargo is 600 kilos so the sailor will take it. The trick works, and Oleg gets his ton of caviar loaded on the boat, but they aren't able to go too far. The boat and the cargo slowly sink, and the men have no choice but to swim to the shore. When the sailor demands to be paid for the damage to his boat, Oleg gives him his new and modern car, so he's left with the sailor's old rickety vehicle and debt of 1 million with the smugglers. The next day, Oleg goes to see his girlfriend Sveta at the bank she works at to ask for a loan, but she can't give it to him because he hasn't finished paying the one he's already taken. Wanting to help, Sveta offers an alternate solution. They could ask her family for help since they own a house. Oleg isn't a fan of this idea, since he can't stand Sveta's family and would rather not see them again, but he's out of options. They drive to her house where the whole family lives together. There's Sveta's father, Boris, who likes to sing weird songs and hasn't left the house in 5 years because he's a wanted man, her maternal grandfather, Pavel, who wishes he could die already, her sister Rita, who works as an accountant at the theater but wishes to be a performer, her brother Talik, who wants to join the army but can't because of his asthma and likes training dogs, and her sister Sasha, a young girl that keeps daydreaming about becoming a grown woman and has a crush on her Sveta's boyfriend. Oleg tries to talk to Boris about his money problem, for which he has to wait until he's done singing. When Boris finally hears what he has to say, he freaks out, thinking selling the house is like selling his family to slavery. Oleg tries to explain to them that nobody will lose anything, he just needs a guarantor's letter, but it's pointless. Boris's answer is still no. Suddenly, their argument is interrupted when a meteorite comes through the roof and lands in the middle of the house and hitting Pavel. At first, the family runs outside, thinking they may be under attack, but as soon as they see a meteorite shower in the sky, they understand what's going on and go back inside to check on their grandfather. After taking him to bed, Oleg and the siblings start digging to take the meteorite out to sell it, but one by one, the siblings go to sleep and leave Oleg digging alone. He doesn't finish until morning, and when he comes out of the hole, he finds Pavel calling him from bed to tell him he's about to die. Oleg wants to call an ambulance, but Pavel forbids it. He's lived long enough and wants to leave this world in peace. Before passing away, he gives Oleg one last massage to pass on to his family. They can all go to hell. After checking Pavel's pulse to be sure it's real, Oleg rushes to Sveta to give her the news, but she's deeply asleep and won't pay attention. Oleg ends up falling asleep next to her, and when Talik comes later to show him something, Sveta is gone. Oleg follows Talik to the living room and finds the meteorite has transformed into a strange liquid. Sasha has gained super strength and Rita can fly. Sveta shows up a moment later, appearing with half her body invisible, and Pavel suddenly joins them as well, alive and well. But when Rita can't control her new ability and flies away through the hole on the roof, she quickly falls to the ground, and Pavel passes away again as Sveta comes fully visible. After they help Rita back inside and tie her up so she can't float away again, causing Pavel to awaken, they reach the conclusion that the meteorite has given them special powers. Sveta thinks they should call the authorities, and as soon as she leaves the room, Pavel dies again, and Rita stops floating. It seems these special abilities only work if they're all together. They go to see a doctor to ask him about it, but the doctor says they're healthy and there is nothing wrong with their bodies. This interrupting effect they get when they separate must simply be part of how their powers work. Later during dinner, they discuss what they should do with these powers. Rita wants to perform, but Pavel thinks people will experiment on them if they knew. While Talik feeds his dogs and discovers he can understand them now, Oleg tells Boris that the family should appear on TV and get paid for it, but Boris refuses to have his family used like that. When they go to bed, Oleg asks Sveta about the money they keep in the bank while she wonders if she'll have invisible children. The next morning, Pavel tries to hang himself, but it's pointless. As long as he is around his family, he'll stay alive. Boris discovers his power is teleportation when he goes to the bathroom and tries too hard to relieve himself, and decides the family needs a little vacation to deal with this. The group goes to a lake to fish, and while Boris learns to control his power, Oleg tells everyone about the plan he's come up with. They should work together to rob a bank. Pavel doesn't accept this and yells at them, reminding them this is what he wants. Boris cuts in saying they should live together as a happy family, but Oleg reminds him they can't stay because the plan they pulled off wasn't as smooth as the original and the police will find them sooner or later. Besides, he and Sveta have already planned to go to Thailand. Talik will be leaving for Moscow, and Sasha and Rita want to go to Brazil. The girls want Boris to go with them, but he doesn't have time to reply because Pavel tells them he's called the police so they can find his soon-to-be dead body, so the family leaves for good this time. Seeing her grandfather die truly upsets Sveta, who refuses to grab the money when Oleg starts dividing it some hours later, saying they should give it back. Oleg refuses, so Sveta kicks him out of the car, saying she doesn't want to be with him anymore. Seeing as the family hasn't changed after all, Oleg leaves and takes care of his business. He pays the smugglers what he owed them, then hides the rest of the money from the funeral home. At first, he tries his best to ignore it, but once he boards the plane, he can't deal with the guilt anymore and returns to town to help them. His first stop is the funeral home, where he tries to bribe the employee to give him the body back. Oleg pays all the money he has left and takes Pavel with him to the court where the family is being put on trial. As soon as they step inside, everyone recovers their powers and chaos ensues. Boris teleports out of the cage, and while he and Pavel start beating people up, Sasha breaks the cage to let her siblings out. Together they knock out various officers while the rest of the people run away, and now they're all reunited. Boris accepts that this kind of crazy plan officially makes Oleg part of the family. Waiting outside for them, there's a group of armed cops who Rita distracts by flying above them, pretending to be a religious apparition. This gives them enough time to steal a car and drive away, but the police soon snap out of it and start chasing them through the city. Boris teleports inside of one of the police cars to make them drive away. Sasha pushes others with her super strength, and when they accidentally drive through a vegetable stand and the mirror gets dirty, Oleg cleans it with the water he pours from his finger. Sasha uses her strength again to help the car make a sudden turn, causing all the police vehicles to crash against each other except for one. They manage to finally lose it when Rita stands up and pushes up the car as she flies up, making the car float away with her. Sometime later, the family meets with the smugglers and pays them to hide them in one of their containers so they can escape to Thailand undetected. Now they have 20 days ahead of where their only company will be each other. Thanks for watching.